What music marketing actually works in 2025? It's a question that lots of independent artists ask themselves, and it's a good one because you want to know where is the most effective place to spend your money, what things can you put time and effort into that are actually going to result in new fans, streams, and building up all of your profiles so that you can grow your artist project as a whole. I've tried out lots of different things over the last 15 years in the music business, and I'm going to show you today the areas that I focus all of my time and energy on when it comes to music promotion, and show you what actually works and also what doesn't work. So the simplest way that I like to break it down in terms of where I need to be promoting your music is to think about where are people hanging out to discover new music, or where are people actually discovering new songs. And the main places today are obviously social media, so TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, and then Spotify. And so those are the main places that I'm focusing on growing my audiences and posting my music so that it can just be in front of people, could be potential new listeners. So let's start with social media. Everyone knows that you should be posting on social media, but what are the actual reasons why you want to post your music and your stuff on social media, and how does it turn into fans and streams and just new listeners in general? I think the main reason why you should be posting on social media is because it accomplishes three things in one action. Number one, it promotes your music if you're using your music in your videos, which everyone should be in my opinion. It builds up your audience, number two, so people who like your music and want to follow your artist project are going to follow you on social media, and that's going to build up an audience which over time is going to hopefully build up into show bookings. It's going to build demand for shows. It's going to build audiences for pushing your music to streaming wise. There's going to be more opportunities overall as a result of posting on social media. Now, specifically related to streams, what happens is when you post a video and either one of your videos goes viral on social media or people start using the sound in their clips, those are the two main ways that streams come from social media, is when people watch one of those videos and then they click on the sound in the video. You got to make sure you're using your music as the sound that's attached to your videos. They'll click on that sound and they'll go to the sound page on either TikTok or Instagram or YouTube Shorts. And then from that sound page, there's a button that says add to Spotify, and you get lots and lots of saves from that channel. So last year I had a couple of viral videos that did a few 100,000 views, or there was a couple that did a couple of million. As you can see here, I'm going to attach a little graphic that every time one of those viral videos popped off, there was about anywhere from 500 to 1,000 saves in a single day. And the way the Spotify algorithm works is if they see all those saves coming from social media, that then tells the algorithm that these types of people are liking your song. It gives them all this data about who those people are, how old they are, which country they're from, etc., what kind of music genres they're into. And then they use that data to push that out on algorithmic playlists like Discover Weekly. Radio is the number one playlist for most people at the moment. Discover Weekly used to be number one, but now it's changed to radio. And so they're using that data to push you out to more people who are likely to enjoy your song in those playlists like radio. And so you get a lot of algorithmic uplift in your streaming if you can get people coming from social media over to Spotify, saving your stuff, streaming your stuff. It's a really powerful way to grow your Spotify numbers, your streams, your followers, everything. And again, that's why it's so effective to post on social media, because with one video, you accomplish all that stuff. You get new followers, which can lead to shows, bookings, other music opportunities, collaborations, and it also builds up your streaming, which leads to income, again, more exposure on Spotify, more fans, and just generally growing your artist project. And in terms of what videos work on social media, my personal experience has been, at the moment, videos that feature your face. So if you watch a lot of my content on social media, you'll see the camera's right up in my face here. It's because people like to see how you react, how your facial expressions when you're playing a song, how you're reacting to the music, something they can connect to and resonate with. And also really quick cuts in between each clip. So rather than having one long clip, I've noticed that having lots of really short clips stitched together to make one 30-second to a minute long video, that seems to be the optimal format for engagement, people staying around and watching your entire video rather than just the first couple of seconds. And there's a bunch of other strategies which I talk about in my book, which you can find via the link in my description here, all about how to set your social media content up, your profile up and everything, so that when people come to your profile, they go, yep, I know what this guy's about. They click on a video, they watch it, and immediately you capture their attention. It's more likely for them to click that follow button and to then move over to Spotify and save your music. Number two way way to promote your music in 2025 is meta ads. And this is something I've been diving into super deep recently. And I cover a lot of that stuff in my book as well, about how to set up your campaigns, run effective meta ad campaigns, and how to optimize your budget, whether it's a small budget, a big budget, to drive people to your Spotify and build up those streams, get some streaming income coming in. And meta ads is, from my experience, it's got the lowest cost per result. So you're able to get more listeners for less money compared to platforms like TikTok or the Spotify inbuilt native promotional tools now that they've got. Meta ads is by far the most cost effective and powerful in terms of attracting new listeners. And meta ads is different to boosting a post on social media. So it's a separate platform on the Meta for Business. And you set up a big campaign in there with lots of different creatives. And the idea is that you select a few target interests and what you think is the most likely audience who's going to like your music. So for me, I always target funk, disco music enjoyers, and people between the ages of 18 and about 50. And then from there, Meta is really, really good at finding the people who are most likely to click on your ad, go listen to your music, and stream it on Spotify. Third on the list here is pitching to Spotify for editorial playlists, algorithmic playlists, and everything in between. So the most reliable way that you can generate streams from pitching to Spotify is just by uploading your music to Spotify through a distributor at least 1 week before the release. I'd recommend doing at least a month so you have time to pitch to third-party playlists. But if you do it at least 1 week before, your song will automatically go into the release radar of everyone that follows you on Spotify. And that's a massive driver of streams, especially when you spend time to build up your Spotify audience. One of the things I do is I release a couple of free remixes and I use a download gate so that when people download the remix, if they want to play it, they have to follow me on Spotify, and that builds up my follower numbers. And then every time I release a new song, that song is going to go into the release radar of those people who follow me. And it's a major driver of streams, and probably the only thing that you could really rely on to get streams every time you release a song, whereas editorial playlists, as we all know, quite difficult to get in, and it's really hard to rely on them as an independent artist for a source of streams. Then we've got building your own playlists. So I've launched a playlist called Disco Gems last year, and I've spent quite a bit of time on my social media and using meta ads to build that up. I think we've got about 15,000 followers or something now, and that's as a result of constant posting on social media, running meta ad campaigns on the playlist, targeting people who are interested in disco and funk music or whatever genre it is that you're making. And having your own playlist is really powerful because, number one, if you own the playlist, you can guarantee that every time you have a new release, your song can be #1 position on that playlist, and you can get streams if you've built up a bit of a following on it. Second reason is you can do playlist swaps. So if you're able to build your playlist up and then network with other people who have good Spotify playlists that also align with your vision and your genre as an artist, you can do a trade where you can, ask them to feature one of your songs in their playlist and you do the same in yours. And then the paid option of that is to do third-party playlist pitching on sites like Submit Hub or Playlist Push. I found that playlists are becoming a little bit less effective now, but it's still worthwhile to pitch your stuff to third-party playlists and try to generate some streams. The only thing you have to be really careful of on those sites is there's a lot of kind of dead playlists that may have a bunch of followers but aren't really that active anymore and don't really generate that much listenership or streams. So you do have to do a bit of research, and I use a site called Chartmetric to monitor playlists and to check out the data, whether they're actually driving streams and people are listening to it. Because if a playlist has, 100,000 followers, but the song in the top position is only driving 20 to 50 streams a month, then it's probably a waste of time. So it's good to use sites like that, Chartmetric or other ones, to dive in and sort of check out these playlists, which ones are still active, so that you're not just, throwing your budget away on playlists that don't actually drive any streams. And you need to do a little bit of research on these platforms too, because you can pitch and get your music in a big playlist, but if it's the wrong genre, it can actually really hurt your release. And the reason is, let's say you're a disco music producer like me and your song gets featured in a metal playlist that has 1 million followers. People who are listening to that playlist, if they listen to a metal song and then they listen to your song, which is a disco song, they're gonna go, hold on a second, this isn't why I came to this playlist, I'm gonna press skip. And if that happens lots and lots of times, people skipping your song, it really negatively impacts the data. And data is everything in the age of, this whole algorithmic world out there of algorithmic Spotify playlists and streams and content and all that kind of stuff. If you generate a high skip rate and a low completion rate on your songs, it's going to tell Spotify that people aren't liking your song. And it's not necessarily that it's a bad song, it just means that, you're in the wrong playlist, and the people who are listening to it, they may not be the audience that you're after. So it's really important to get your music in the right playlists and to avoid getting in the bad ones or the ones that don't match up with your genre. So what I've done over the years is I've made a spreadsheet of all the playlists that I think really align with the genre of my music, and I've filtered out all the ones that don't align with my music, even if they have lots of followers, because it really hurts your streaming data. And then when it comes time to release your next song, you know that you've got this list, you know which playlist to pitch to use your credits on Submit Hub. You can have a really effective third-party pitching campaign. So the next thing you can do to build up your streams and your following on Spotify is to release with bigger artists than you, or just big artists in general. And the reason is because if you can get a song where you're collaborating with an artist with, say, 50,000 followers on Spotify. When you release the song, that joint release is going to go into their release radar. It's going to go out to all their followers, and the followers that really like the song, they're probably going to come and follow you as well. And it's also going to really boost your streaming numbers, your monthly listeners on Spotify, which are all metrics that other artists use to sort of evaluate whether or not it's worth collaborating with, which is kind of sad because your value as an artist shouldn't be tied to the amount of monthly listeners you have. But unfortunately in the world today, that's just how people kind of evaluate whether or not it's worth collaborating with you as an artist, which is kind of fucked up, but it is what it is. And the last one I've got on here, which is kind of a bonus area, is sample packs. So I've found sample packs to be really powerful in terms of my own music releases and just my name or my reputation in the music producer space. I've released a bunch of packs on Splice. You can check out my Disco Gem series on there, or my Future Funk and Soul series. And there's collaborations with artists that have happened because they use my Splice pack, they use some of my loops, maybe in a remix or just in their own production, and they go, hold on a second, who's this Jafunk guy? I'm gonna go check him out on Spotify and social media. Then they find my other music, they become fans. That can kind of snowball into collaborations with artists who you maybe wouldn't have reached if you had to just cold message them on Instagram. So releasing sample packs just sort of builds up your reputation as a producer. If you've got great samples out there, other producers and artists will notice, and it'll probably lead to collaborations that maybe you wouldn't have gotten before. So those are the main areas that I'm focusing on for my music releases. It's how I promote my music, it's how I build my fan base. And if you want to learn more about the detailed strategies that I use to promote my stuff, like my strategy for making content, the frequency that I post the content, what I'm actually including in the content, the video creative itself, and then also my meta ad strategy, how to set up a campaign to be really effective, check out my book, The Independent Artist Playbook. It's full of information and strategies that I've learned, and they've been tested in the real world over the last 15 years of me being in the industry. So everything in that book is a complete summary of what I'm doing today when I'm releasing my music. I've had over 150 million lifetime streams on Spotify, and I've got over 150,000 followers on Instagram, about 80,000 on TikTok. So it's stuff that I think has worked, and it's all in my book. Check it out via the link in the description.